Hey Rick, how you doing, man?
I'm loving that beard you got going. It took you a while to let the white come out, but it is spectacular.
It may not be here next week, so good thing you practice you practice non-attachment. so
That's right.
so good thing.
Not attached to your beard, brother.
I love your hair, man. I always rave about it, man. I love it, man. I mean, you're talking to a guy who doesn't have any, so yeah, I love it. I like my bald head, but I love that hair too.
Hey, well, that's the podcast, folks. See you next week.
Acceptance. Uh, yeah, Rick. This show I want to do is I like us to consider is about habits, and the title will be the power of making your practice a habit, or the benefits of making your practice a habit. And this is inspired by a colleague at work, and she works at Mayo Clinic. She works in Department of Laboratory Medicine and Pathology. She's an amazing leader. Just breathes kindness, man. She's phenomenal. And so many, when we first started to practice in her group, it was probably 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. She started out, she was engaged, and she's been engaged the whole time. But the worry, the trying to control things, obsessive things with her family, and all those things were something that she was dealing with, just like me and all of us, most of us. And so she was asking me as we were sharing, because we do the daily practice every day, and then we have a biweekly meeting in which I ask two questions. And the questions are, what's going well with your practice and what needs work? And she talked about, the things about acceptance and all those things that need work. But she was asking me, like, Keith, when will I get to like where you are, to where it's just automatic? It's like breathing. It's like a habit. And I said, well, the habit part of it, there's only one way to get there, and that's to stay consistent in doing it. And when that will be for you, I can't tell you. I know people that have said, hey, it takes 21 days to create a habit. Really? Because I know people that have been doing stuff for like 21 days, and I haven't seen a change in behavior, So I think it's different for everybody what that is, and it ties to commitment. But I said, you'll know it when it happens. And so we had a meeting yesterday, and she said that, Keith, it's a habit now.
Oh, great.
And I was like, wow, when you make this thing a habit, it means that you've given up the narrative about it's too early to do it. I don't have time, or this is inconvenient, or it's not for me. All that is narrative that the ego is saying. It doesn't have to be this practice. It could be another spiritual practice that you do, but anything that helps you practice being conscious, being aware, being loving, being kind, being gracious, all of those things that help you not only create and cultivate inner peace, but it's also what you share with the rest of the world. So that's what the practice helps you do. And it's really just a signpost, because everything that you need is already inside of you. So it's just pointers about how to get there, because for me, it was very, very challenging to get there. But some of the things that she said, and I'll read it to you, that she got from it was that when it became a habit, what she noticed is that her response time, and when she says response time, it increased. And what she meant by that is her awareness that the reactivity or the old way of behaving, when you get a phone call or an email and you automatically start worrying about what it's going to be, or you see a name pop up on your phone and you're like, oh God, here we go. Or whatever those things are, something goes wrong than the way you think it should go. Then automatically, before you have an opportunity to gain control of it, you've been thrown in the back seat of this car with no driver, which is your mind and your ego, and you're blasting down the road over a cliff without a seatbelt. So what she said was her response time, or her awareness, increased faster. So that was one of the things about making it a habit. The other thing that she said is that she became faster. And then she said, not only that, Rick, but this was really powerful. The quality of her responses improved. It's just like, baseball, right? The first time you get up there and you never held a bat or anything like that, you whiffing when they throw that fastball over and over again. And then your response time is awful. You're not making contact, or if you do make contact, you're hitting outs or ground balls, or you're hitting, pop flies. more and more reps at it, consistency to create the habit. Then you start nailing the fastball. But don't get comfortable with the fastball because they're going to throw a changeup or curve. So get ready for that one too. And so, but what happens is those athletes talk about, and you and I talked about how it's true for not just this athletic metaphor, but also in real life when people are showing up a certain way differently than you would like them to do, or life situations are not to your liking, that the pitch slows down. These Major League Baseball players talk about how when the ball is coming, you can see the threads on the ball because they've worked on this craft for so long. It's a habit for them. And then the quality of the swing is completely different. It's effortless. They're not just hacking away like I was before this was a habit. And so I just want you to riff on the benefit of making your practice a habit. And my friend Zara just really kind of illustrated this so well, that her response time and awareness increased and became faster. And the quality of her responses to whatever showed up in life increased and became better quality.
Wow, good for her. That's fantastic. As you go through talking about so many experiences you have at Mayo's with so many interesting people who are dedicated to public service and to service for their patients and to making sure that they use their utmost talent and training to help other people. I would love to meet them because those are qualities that I aspire to, and I'd love to see how they make it. The fact that people are interested in developing habits that not only help them, but will help other people because they are changed themselves is fascinating to me and just wonderful. If we could have a whole community of people like that, can you imagine what things we can do? Just incredible. Well, two things I think about habit that are very, very important to me personally. Number one is that if you have a set of habits that continue to bring you inner peace and continue to allow you to see life in a way that is less hostile than you've been looking at it, that's a great advantage. And number two, the habit that you develop allows you a baseline to work into other areas of self-improvement, right? You have a habit where you're now tending to yourself. You're taking care of your body, you're doing meditation, you're thinking about other people, you're being grateful, all of the things that you teach in the practice. Those things become a baseline for delving into other areas where you may have a particular issue that you're trying to work out. And that opens you up to thinking about other possibilities. And remember, one of our big goals is to be present, is to self-monitor and see what the things are in your own life that are creating the problems that you have. And I would submit that just about 99% of everything that we have is self-created in terms of problems, anxiety, fear, worry. It's all self-created. So to the extent that the practice allows you a habit that not only brings you inner peace, but secondly, allows you to operate in a way where you're looking at more and more and more opportunities to change because you're now aware of things that you want to change. Anything like that helps us live a richer and more complete life. The self-examined life is very, very important. I think it's crucial to not only high-performing people, but to all of us. Unfortunately, I think the more difficulty that you have in your regular life, where you're constantly beset by obstacles that you don't seem to have the tools to work out of, you don't have the opportunity or the luxury to do that. But I would say even in those situations, self-monitoring is the first opportunity. What is it that I keep making mistakes about? And here's one last thought about this. I'm talking too much already this morning.
This is great.
One last thing that really helped me when I started with ToBeRe with you folks, 15 years ago now, was that the idea, I didn't realize how much in my life I had let myself go because it was pleasurable or because it was easy to do. I was really on the track of pleasure at all costs, no pain in my life. So it was about self-medication, get up in the morning, have coffee, go through sitting all day at my computer. And then at night, my body's screaming for a cocktail. I have a couple of cocktails, wine with dinner, after dinner drink, and basically pass out drunk and start it all over again the next day. And so when I started with ToBeRe, I didn't know what to expect. And one of the things that really shocked me was not only how far I'd let myself go, 40 pounds overweight, but also how easy it had become to let myself off the hook for it all.
Mm.
I had a hard job. I had a difficult marriage. I had a young kid that I was trying to raise in a way that made him a better person and made me a better dad. All of these pressures, I thought, allowed me to have a free pass and to develop what I thought was the only way to do it, which was to self-medicate through alcohol. And so I let myself off the hook. And what the habit teaches us is that you show up however you are, right? You had 2 hours of sleep, so what? Get in the gym. You had a terrible thing happen at work yesterday, you got canned, show up in the gym. You still don't want to talk about what happened with your relationship, so what? Get to the practice. And that consistency over time developed an opportunity for me to see not only how much I had let myself off the hook, but how slovenly I had been living, how sloppily I had been living, how I let other people down and myself by just letting myself go, pretending that I was entitled to all of these breaks that I thought alcohol gave me. So anyway, the practice for me turned my life around. And I think it will help all people turn their lives around, even those that don't need a turnaround, but just need a tweak.
Right. Rick, I love that, man. Thank you for being just so open and vulnerable. Wow. And just sharing that, I knew this because you and I are open books with each other, but you're exactly right, man. The different ways that we let ourselves off the hook. And yeah, I guess it is entitlement, or you just accept this narrative. I mean, of all the things to accept, you accept one that doesn't help you grow, be happier, be peaceful, be more joyful. And it shows up in so many different ways. You let yourself off the hook that, hey, I had a long day. So when I come home, how can I be engaged with my loved ones when I walk through the door? Like I can't. I've been okay. That's one way to do it.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, to when you letting yourself off the hook, or take offense to how coworkers or what people may say or do. Normally when people act out, for the most part, they don't have a practice in. So I'd be shocked if they did show up like loving and kind and considerate, because I mean heavens knows that when I didn't have a practice, I didn't show up loving, kind, and considerate, and it wasn't personal. I let myself off the hook that behavior was, right. And the narrative was, this is just who I am. I was born this way. This is who I am. Really? That's how low that bar is? Really? Okay. Yeah. And so just the way that we show up for our loved ones, just letting that go, like, oh my God, you look at your patient list, or you come to work and you are like, there's so many people called out to work, and we're under resourced, understaffed, or whatever the case may be. And saying like, you know what, my day is over. And okay, you letting yourself off the hook like that? It's 7 o'clock. The day just started. It's already over for you. I mean, like really. I mean, you letting yourself off the hook, left and right, with everything. And we're not saying be perfect, but what the practice does when it's habit forming is you are aware when the mind or the ego is trying to not be responsible for how it shows up.
That's right.
So, and so what you become is, when you walk through the door, maybe you walk through the door not as energetic as you would be as if it was your day off. But when you walk through the door, you walk through with presence. You're like, you know what? I had a long day. It was a 14-hour day, but you're gonna get the best of me off 14 hours, not the rest of me off a 14-hour day. And there's a difference, and the practice helps you so that you are always aware that at every point there's a choice. There's a choice. But when it's not a habit, you're at the mercy of whatever shows up, and typically it's not good. It's not good. It's not empowering. But I think about all the ways that I left myself off the hook. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would walk through the door. My significant partner, my significant other would be there, and I would treat her differently than someone else. Here's an example. I run into it, and Dr. Seuss says in this book, you run into a classmate that you haven't seen in 25 years, and you're with your significant other let's say at a restaurant. They walk by. the way that you stand up and like, oh my God, I can't believe I've seen you for like, I've seen you 25 years. Then you sit down and your spouse is like, oh, okay. That's how you show up for somebody you haven't seen in 25 years. I'm the love of your life. You see me every day and you walk in and you walk right past me, and you start complaining about your day or the weight of your day is on you. That's way back in your work day. When you come home, be home, and the same thing with your kids, man. Or you can continue to let yourself off the hook and be like, oh, this behavior is okay. It's understandable, that I'm this way. Okay. If you want to make that the story of your life, you go right ahead. Or you can become so rooted in a practice that helps you become your best self. And as Zara has said, that what happens is your awareness becomes faster, becomes in the quality of your responses improves. That's the power of having a habit with the practice. People ask me, why am I so persistent about doing it in the morning? Because I don't want to let myself off the hook, for the first 4 hours of the day or until I get the first cup of coffee or the second cup of coffee. I want to do it in the very beginning, man, because this life is fleeting and permanent, man. So why would I want to waste an hour, of living a life that's not worth living? I've done that, Rick. That dog doesn't hunt anymore, man.
Man, that's great stuff, Keith. That's really wonderful. And I'm so proud of you developing a program for other people that's helpful. It really helped my life. And I've changed and haven't gone back in 15 years. And as I age, I realize how important it has been. And as I've told you many times, I credit you for saving my life. I think I'd probably be dead by now or have had a heart attack or a stroke or something if I didn't develop the habits that you're teaching others to follow. And I think also one of the side collateral benefits that we don't talk about much is that when you're going through a process like this with habit changing, it's very important to have a positive network around you. So it's great that you have other people in the program. And we all realize when we start getting together and seeing what we have to work on, that we're all cracked vessels, right? We're all kind of everybody a little bit off. And by being in the group, we all have different cracks, but we all realize, hey, we're trying to work out something that improves us, that makes us better. And that is a wonderful, powerful bond among people.
Exactly, Rick. And you said it, man. You gave me so much credit and it's humbling about how, develop this program to help other folks. But as you've seen through many of the podcasts, I'm referencing things that you've taught me, things that Zara and many others have taught me along the way too. I got so many wonderful leaders. I mean, the leader who Zara and I both work with, have the pleasure of, Fiona, Dr. Fiona Craig is amazing, man. And so they're always like, they're giving back to me, man. They're feeding me so that I can grow and expand, my practice and my level of consciousness. And the last thing I'll say before we go is that the question I would ask people is, if you want to show up as the best person in your field, when I say best person, not the highest grossing person in your field when it comes to finances or money or the highest title, but the way you show up in the spirit in which you do your job, the spirit of service in which you're able to express your talents and your craft and your abilities that really create a better, a better experience for humanity. Ask yourself, are my habits serving me? Are they?
Yeah, good.
I get to work and I look at what's on the tab. The way that I relate or the narrative that I spin about that, is that serving me? However life shows up, we're overworked, we're understaffed, we got the pandemic, it's all these changes. Is my response to that, is it one that makes me better, that creates inner peace? Check your habit. It may not be, because life is going to show up, as we mentioned before, with randomness, however it shows up.
That's right.
Practice will help you respond faster and respond in a way that has incredible quality in which you respond, that serves others. So I'll end with that, Rick. I love you, man.
I love you, buddy. Adios. Wonderful talk. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.